Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, June 13th, I think. Welcome to Morning Hair. My hair looks pretty good this morning. It's because I slept like the dead last night. So far we've keeping up with our month O Shakespeare. We've done Henry VI Part 1, Henry VI Part 2, Henry VI Part 3. They probably weren't written together, but they all sort of flow together. And the second of the three is probably the superior one of the three. Although we do get introduced to a great character who gets his own play in what concludes the first historical tetralogy of Shakespeare, and that is Richard III. One of the first times that Shakespeare used a really great villain and built a play around the villain, Richard III. Nasty old hunchback, didn't like anybody. But the thing about Richard III is that he told us, step by step, the evil things he was going to do, and he also told us why. He was a great fighter. He was great when the country was at war, but now the war is over. What's he going to do? He's just a fighter, and he's not pleasant to look at. He's got a bad back and a shriveled arm, and it's like he's in a world of roller disco, and he can't skate. So what's he going to do? Well, he's going to throw bowling balls out to knock over the skaters just for fun. So, but he goes. My dog is barking at something, probably a Bigfoot. Richard tells us what he's going to do along the way. In fact, the first thing he does is pit his brothers against each other. The king against his brother Clarence. And Clarence is being put in the Tower of London because the king has had a dream. And in the dream, this is Clarence speaking of his brother the king. He hearkens after prophecies and dreams, and from the crossrow plucks the letter G, and says a wizard told him that by G his issue disinherited should be. And for my name of George begins with G, it follows in his thought that I am he. So because Clarence's first name is George, the king had a dream that somebody whose name started with G would undo him, not realizing there's another guy whose name starts with G. King Richard, before he became Richard III, was Duke of Gloucester, which starts with D. And so it was actually Gloucester who fulfilled that prophecy. Richard III is one of the great villains in drama. And, it puts me in mind of other villains like, Voldemort was a great villain, but what was his motivation? Why was he a villain? I have this against, everybody in the world has a nose but me. I must go after those nose people. Sauron also was a bad guy. What was his motivation? I'd like my body back, I guess. I don't know. So, but we know what Richard's motivation was. He just is evil just for the sheer joy of being evil, and it worked for him for a while, but in the end he was the last English king killed on the battlefield at the Battle of Bosworth Field. He was the guy who said, a horse, my kingdom for a horse. Excellent movie, by the way. If you ever get a chance to watch it, Looking for Richard, I highly recommend it. Al Pacino does a great job with that, and I wish they could have done the whole play with him as Richard III. Would have been great. Hey, that's it for me. If you should wake up with a Richard III, that means that, if you're going to be the bad guy, at least have some panache, have a little bit of class. Be a memorable bad guy and have a good motivation. Don't hate those of us that have noses. I'm looking at you, Baltimore. Okay, that's it for me. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.